Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is the Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff YouTube channel. Immediately, I want to say thank you for being here, whether it's live and in the moment or it's in the future. This is a channel that Nick and I really enjoy being able to conversate with you guys, being able to build all of this up. And it genuinely is something we look forward to every single week with the live streams, with talking to you guys, and even just allowing us to be able to talk. So thank you guys for kind of giving us this safe place to be able to, I don't know, de-stress and vent and learn and grow. You guys are absolutely amazing. If that sounds good to you guys, hit that thumbs up, the like button on this video. And if you like the channel, consider subscribing. We're almost at 900, creeping towards that 1,000 subscriber milestone. So thank you for any shares out there. If you brought a friend or a family member, literally, if everybody today brought a friend or a family member, if we get around 60 people, that's another 60. We are getting dangerously close to 1,000 members, 1,000 subscribers. So just something to keep in mind. But the show is called The Doctor's Orders. And essentially, it's just to learn about this company and the people behind it, how they go about business, how they go about the products, the customer service, anything that you guys want to know. This is the platform to be able to do that. And I'm so honored to be able to just simply guide this and let you guys see what they have going on. Now, with that said, I am the co-host. I always have another co-host with me. And this co-host is something special. I genuinely hope, guys, and I know I get on my like Bruce Buffer stuff sometimes, but this one a little more serious. I genuinely hope that you guys get a chance to meet Nick, to meet Jill, whether it's at their retail space in the future, whether it's at a beard competition in the future or a meetup or however. These are just people. Set the company, set the beard products aside. These are just people you need in your life. Whether it's perspective, whether it's a reality check, whether it's an inspirational boost, whether it's somebody to look up to as a role model. I hope you guys get to know this family. And with that said, in all seriousness here, an absolute honor to introduce Mr. Nick, the doctor himself. Nick, how you doing?
After that intro, man, how could I be doing bad? Thank you so much. Doing fantastic, man. This is yet another good week here. We're finally like coming out of the ashes from the Black Friday craziness here, which is good, you know. And we got some cool stuff to talk about there today. Heck too. Yeah. And no, man, doing good. It's looking, you know, we're kind of rounding the corner on a bunch of our rebranding stuff with labeling. We'll talk about that today. Lots of just good stuff going on, man. Feeling pretty good.
Heck yeah. So as always, guys, we have a theme of today's show, but we kind of, if you guys kind of figured this out, we have like kind of a theme, but then we always have little things that we throw in. We take your guys' questions. We try to just go where we think it's best served on that day to be able to articulate what is important about this company and what is important about what you guys want to know. So we are going to talk about some common beard myths. So if you guys have questions or you have comments that you've heard over and over again about beards that you're not sure are true, or you've heard it and you know for a fact it's not true, we're going to share those a little bit later. But before that, we just have a couple of random updates. And this is what I love about this company. Things happen. They're going to adjust and make the most out of it. But above all, they're going to be 100% transparent and share this with you guys. Nick and I were discussing today on the topics, and he was like, we just want to talk about this. We just want to be honest with this. We don't need to do anything else and spin or anything like that. We just want to be honest. And so there's gonna be a couple of topics like that. We'll talk about some of the things coming in the future, maybe some new stuff coming, the labels finalizing, all that. And then we'll get into some beard myths. And who knows, maybe Nick has a phone by him and we'll take a little mini mobile tour. So Nick, whenever that mobile tour time is right, I'm going to let you hit me with that. Okay. And so just let me know on that front. But first, you want to start with some updates and some things coming on that coming out of Black Friday craziness that just kind of have emerged and we're going to adjust.
Yeah. Let's do it. And so maybe let's jump into some of those quick updates that I had kind of top of mind today. And we'll let people kind of formulate some ideas on that as we do a quick walk around. And then we'll come out and talk about questions on that and dive into some of these beard myths.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what's going on?
I like it. All right. So couple of quick housekeeping items for everyone. You know, we knew this time was coming, but we thought it was coming for a very different reason than it has. We've kind of alluded to the fact that our flat rate international shipping is going to stay the way that it was until it proved that it couldn't.
Correct.
I honestly thought that it was going to reach a tipping point of us funding international shipping that would cause a monetarily induced departure from that program.
Right.
However, a very different outside force outside of our control has created the need to not only switch the way that we're doing international shipping, like we've kind of been thinking that we were going to, which was moving to DHL in a way from using a more dedicated international shipping provider. Well, based on what happened over the past month, I would say the Postal Service win rate now for working with, let's call it anyone besides, oddly enough, anyone besides Canada. Canada is pretty reliable with their post. And oddly enough, Australia is super duper reliable with getting things to where they're going, even when they're very remote. Every other corner of the world, the UK included, unfortunately, we've been getting stuff from Dubai and Saudi Arabia and India and all over the place, which is fantastic. But we have now done the math, and we have about a 50% win rate getting things to those people reliably. And so, like we've said before, a lot of the times shipping internationally costs us money, and it does, and that's fine, because we want people to get our products and experience them. And the long-term goal is to figure out a more regional way to distribute to those people in other parts of the world that aren't here in the United States. I would love to be able to find a distributor that I could work with over there, not like a huge big box distributor, but like a boutique distributor, maybe even someone that just kind of does some of their own products and owns a decent sized barbershop in the UK, for example, would be like a fantastic person to be a local shipping broker for us. So, we're working on that. But check this out. So imagine this, right? We do flat rate shipping for $15 over, I think it's $75 for orders. And so we had one where the label ended up costing us $45 to ship it. Okay, so it cost us $30, which we make up for probably with the rest of the sale. It was a large order. Now here's the problem. It got lost, right? And when it gets lost, dealing with an international carrier, the claim process to refund us for that shipping is like a 6-month process, if it ever even happens, because you're waiting for two people to reimburse each other that aren't us, right? Which is the international carrier, the US carrier, and then back to us. So half the time we don't get that back. And so we basically ended up spending about $90, plus we had to eat the product that got lost, and then we had to reship it. So, if you multiply that by ones or twos, not so big of a problem. If you multiply it by hundreds, that obviously is debilitating, right? So due to the reliability of international carriers through our current local shipping provider, which is USPS, we're going to have to suspend all international shipping, paid or not, until we get on with DHL. And what that'll allow us to do is we will probably still use the USPS for Canada. So Canada is still going to be online. Canadian orders can still go through. If you're in Australia and you want to place an order, just reach out to us with email. We're going to be emailing our Australian customers, letting them know that we're kind of in an interim period of shipping providers for international. That way we can take care of them. And of course, anyone else that reaches out, we can probably do one-off orders for them as well. But as far as people that are not regulars, people that are just coming to us new as of right, probably later today, effectively immediately, we're going to suspend all international shipping except to Canada. And really, at the end of the day, it's a good thing, right? We got to find the good in everything and the reasons why we do things. There's usually, again, it's either something forces us to do it or you guys ask us to do it. And in this case, it's not something you guys asked for. It's something that we got forced into based on, just the way things have gone. And in the long run, I think DHL is going to be a much better solution. One, because they're really good at delivering things and getting them to even the most remote parts of the world. People are also going to be able to pay the actual shipping rate, which sometimes is going to be less than our flat rate. Sometimes it's going to be more. And it just kind of is what it is, right? I think we did a really good job for a long time getting our stuff into the hands of people and making it affordable and making it easy. And unfortunately, those days have seemed to have come to an end. So, hey, right, roll with the punches, adjust, move on, and hopefully we get better reliability And, I think the overarching theme I told Dan for these discussions is what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? If we're doing something that's damaging and hurts us and hurts our perception, right? That's not good for any of us here that know what our domestic experience is like. And we want to make sure that people on other sides of the world also have that same experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And obviously this is not an easy thing. It's a very frustrating thing when these packages are getting lost. And to give you guys a peek behind the curtains where companies wouldn't share this, but I will because I deal with people every single day with this kind of situation. Somebody buys a package, they pay shipping, they pay for the package, and it gets lost. Very frustrating situation. Completely understand. You pay for a package and the shipping gets kind of like delayed in transit. People, for whatever reason, there's a lot of reasons behind it, get very upset in those situations. And oftentimes their anger turns to the beard product company or turns to the person that recommended the beard product company. I cannot tell you how many people who have come at me very, very angrily because of a shipping issue that has nothing to do with the person recommending and has nothing to do with the beard product company. So it's also a frustration because the customers do get very upset. Not all of them. Many of you are absolutely amazing and you understand. And it's just, you get that this is especially this time of year when the holiday season and the packages and all that stuff, but it can get frustrating all around. And so rather than trying to like throw band-aids on it and trying to do this, they're making a decision, like I said, that's going to hopefully be better for everybody because we don't want you guys getting upset about a package loss. Nobody wants you having to battle back and forth. As Nick said, though, I want to make that clear. International shipping is suspended. They're still people. They're still humans. This is a company that cares about you. Please reach out to them. I will put the email in the chat right now. And with these emails, guys, I am asking you, especially at this busy time of the year, really try to dial in like, hey, I'm going to reach out because I really do want to ask about the shipping. That's a great email to send, right? That's really purposeful. That really helps them. They get a lot of emails, but the goal is that they're going to treat you like you're the only customer on the planet. And so when you guys make those emails super purposeful and you're really like, this is a big one, that allows them to keep that kind of level of customer service. So to summarize,
it just reduces the noise. Yeah, it really helps.
Exactly.
And like, for example, what you're just talking about, Dan, the real CO here in the chat, he says he's never had a problem getting packages from us in the UK. And the real CO, just know, I know Joel's already telling you, please email us if the shipping rate isn't available to you when you check out and you look at it. Just screenshot your cart, send us an email, and we will send you back a pre-generated order with a custom shipping rate in it, right? And we're just going to handle these on one-off. So anyone who's in this stream, anyone who's a regular customer, and we probably want to send something out later this week on Instagram too, maybe even an email, I think probably warrants one of the few emails that we send to people in our customer list, just kind of updating the shipping stuff. If it's like, oh man, but I was almost out of IPA and I've never had a problem and shipping's always been great, just again, shoot us a note. We'll take care of you. We're not going to say, hey, nope, sorry, no UK until DHL. We'll figure it out.
Absolutely. So just reach out, guys. They'll handle it. If it's not possible, they'll tell you it's not possible. But if it is, they 100% will. And yeah, many of you, Jill says Charles had 6 successful orders. He's grandfathered in.
Yeah, exactly.
Well said.
Yeah, and look, and the real CO says that he's had problems getting stuff even with DHL, and they've returned it back to him for whatever reason. And it's just, man, I don't know what it is. It seems to have gotten, I don't know if it's the time of year. Maybe it's just because everyone's super busy in the carrier space, but it definitely seems to be getting worse.
Oh, it's just a sheer volume thing. And it is. And I feel for the carriers, right? This isn't on anybody.
We were just talking about that.
Right. I think that we talk sometimes about like shipping concerns and this kind of stuff. And I think people listening, I would hate for someone to be like a delivery person and then be like, oh man, but I'm trying my best. This is crap. No, this is not about you. Nick and I were talking about that before the stream about how much we value delivery drivers, how much we value everyone that's working. It's more of a system type problem. And it's one of those systems where it's like, I almost want a really highly successful company to come in and shake things up, right? Like Amazon. Well, they have their downfalls. There's no doubt about that. but their logistics on figuring out shipping,
it's damn good.
Unbelievably good. That, I think that's their real value, is that algorithm that they came up with to be able to to figure that stuff. I don't even want to start thinking about how
I
they
wonder
plan all this.
I
Just
wonder if they're
absurd.
more a fulfillment company or more of a logistics company these days. Like, I wonder which has a heavier team. I bet you
Right.
it's the logistics side of the house.
Right. It's like McDonald's. What is the bigger team, the real estate side of it or the actual McDonald's side of it?
It's the real estate side of it.
Correct. Correct. It's
Yeah.
wild to
Spoiler
think
alert,
about.
it's real estate.
Yeah. Which is wild
McDonald's
to
is a
think
real
about.
estate company with with a self-fulfilling tenant model.
Right. So
Genius.
international shipping suspended, unfortunately, just literally because of the situation. So we will get the word out any way we can on this stream, on this channel, on their socials, and all of that. Cool. Any other things out of the rubble from Black Friday or adjustments that people should know about, Nick?
Yeah, so we're going to be making some adjustments to our bundles, so just keep an eye out for that. It's some huge improvements are coming, but until they are, you might see some adjustments that limit bundles. Like the Dan C bundle is not going anywhere. The new doctor's bundle is coming back and it's not going anywhere. But what's weird is the bundles we have, like for example, like the oil butter balm bundle, where you get to pick your oil, pick your butter, pick your balm, and you pick your scents and it builds you a bundle. Apparently we're one of the only people who still like doing things like that on the Shopify platform, which is our e-commerce platform. So the ability to list those types of things is super limited. And what's really interesting is you can't go past, and this is a Shopify wide limitation, you can't go past 3 items in those types of bundles because of the way it uses its variant system to do it. So it's kind of an interesting little problem. And on top of that, what's compounded that issue is the way that Shopify spits out those types of bundles has been a nightmare for Jill and for Shelly in shipping and receiving, because of the way it prints the pick lists and pack lists. And we think that might have been contributing to some of the confusion of people getting the wrong product in an order here and there. We've just been trying to track that down and figure out like what's causing that issue. And we don't actually think it's a human issue. It could have been kind of a combination. And so we're going to slim those down, but what's going to replace it is actually much, much cooler. It's going to be a build your own bundle program. So what's going to happen is whenever you're looking at a product, it's going to offer you the option to turn that product into a bundle. And the more products you add to the bundle that you're building, the larger discount you get as you build that bundle. And so your order of multiple products is actually at times going to allow you to build your own, oil, butter, balm, and even shower products bundle, for example, right? So it's going to have a little bit more flexibility. It's going to allow you to build your own stuff, and it's not going to have the back end nightmare that Jill and Shelly have been dealing with. And finally came to me and said, we can't deal with this anymore. And so I said, okay, I'll fix. And so that's what I'm doing. So basically, we're just kind of between the shipping between now and January and the bundles between now and January, you're just going to see some little shifts here throughout December. And once everything's done, we'll talk about them again. We'll walk through it here online on the stream, and we'll of course take your guys' feedback and make sure that you like the way things are working, or if you have any suggestions. So that's kind of that's the 2 main ones though: shipping and bundles.
Love that. Beautiful. All right. What do you say? Is it tour time?
I'd say it's as good as time as any. Let's go see Jill in her very empty but very cool new office.
Heck yeah. And then guys and girls out there, we will come back after the tour and we'll hit the beard myth that you guys want to talk about. We should have plenty of time. And then if we have any questions or comments that you guys want to go over, we will get to those, such as Moose wants to know Lemongrass scent being released.
Oh, I actually have a really funny update on that one. I will fall directly on the sword on that. Okay, so as everyone knows, we have a crap load of new labels, right? We just got all of the new ones for every product, and we're in the process of relabeling and bottling all sorts of stuff. There was 3 new scents that Jill is working on. Most of them we've talked about here. One of them is ready to be bottled, and that one is the Lemongrass scent. And then guess which label of all 33 labels I ordered that I forgot to order? It was the lemongrass. And of course, I ordered the 2 other new ones that are not ready to bottle yet. So I ordered the 2 she didn't need, and I didn't order the 1 that she needed. So Moose, my fault. Very, very sorry. I'm working on fixing it. They're on order, and we should be getting them very, very soon.
There you go. Now, Jose says, Nick, thanks for the peppermint rosemary beard oil. I really like it. It's in my top 5 favorites now.
Heck yeah, man. That's what's in beard right now. I've been using that I use that all weekend and all week so far. And I am not a peppermint guy.
Right. There's an earthiness to it. That rosemary brings out that herbal side. I really get it in the body wash. It really comes out.
Did you get your Yule tree stuff yet?
No, not yet. I think it's on the way.
It should literally be there like today, tomorrow. That Yule tree body wash is like next level amazing.
Okay. Yeah, I have not got that one yet. So it should be soon. I'm excited.
The whole bathroom just smells like Yule tree.
That's amazing. Amazing. Especially for this season, this month.
Come on.
And speaking of international shipping, we got our guy Sebastian overseas here. He said, I wanted to share, I made a career change to a CNC technician and machinist.
Dude, that is awesome, man. Are you working on metal stuff, I'm assuming? It's probably like metal CNC work with the big automated lathes and all that cool stuff. The guys next door to us do that. And the amount of machinery he has is just like mind-boggling. Like those shops are so freaking cool.
Moose says, Nick, I'll take a handwriting on a piece of paper and tape it to the bottle. I need it. I don't care about no stinking labels.
Moose, don't tempt her.
Right. Oh, nice. Mine will be here tomorrow.
Lemongrass on it.
Beautiful.
Jacket says tomorrow.
Yeah, awesome. And then Jason says the rosemary smells really good. Phil says that peppermint is so soothing and crisp to the body and mind. Ooh, I like that. Dude,
looking good, Phil. Love that.
Yeah, I like that. All right, sir. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, I'm going to drop you out here and then bring you in. All right. Yeah, no, take your time. All right, getting this going, guys. We're going to take a quick little shop tour to see what is going on in the Dr. Nick's world with some changes, some updates, and to give you guys a little literal peek behind the scenes. We'll see how this thing goes. And I've been able to go through this place, you guys. It is so dang cool.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep. We are good.
Okay. I have a bit of a delay, and I think I know what needs to happen here. I'm just going to flip over to the mesh Wi-Fi if it lets me do it. Let's see here.
And this facility is huge, you guys.
Might blip for 1 sec, and then it'll come right back.
Beautiful.
Okay, there we go. And looks good. All right, let's flip you guys around, and let's go bug Jill. Can you still hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Oh, man, we've been taking in big deliveries lately. We're like rearranging the way we're going to bring in deliveries through the back of the building. But here, okay, so this was all just redone. This room was very, very 1983 before we remodeled this. So when you guys come in through the front door, this is kind of where you will walk in and be able to come to the retail space of a showroom. And here we go. And here's our office manager, of course, hard at work, coming to make sure that no intruders are going to bug us. That's a good boy. So this is the showroom space here. And it's about 600 square feet-ish. And what we're going to do is have the whole room set up with shelves along the walls and all back through here. And then we're going to have a little couch set up and a little desk set up there with a POS terminal on it. And we're going to have all of our shirts on hangers, like on these walls here, and hoodies and hats. And that way, people can come in, they can see everything, they can touch it, they can feel it.
come in and smell oils, all that good stuff, and just get a sense if they're local. We'll have the option on the website for local pickup, so you won't need to pay for shipping. And it should make it to where people who are local can either come in and look at stuff before they buy, or once they make a purchase, they can come in and pick it up, say hi, and do what I'm going to do right now. Come in and bug Jill. Hi, Jill. And here she is in her lovely new space. She has a view, lots of windows, and these really cool ceilings, all these cool beams. These things are awesome, and it was my favorite part about this office when it was mine. Like, you see how big these things are. Like, they're these massive, like, they look like ship beams almost. Like Dan was looking at, it's like an upside down boat in this building almost. But we're gonna load it up with a cool couch and another little table for me, so I can sit right there and bug my wife whenever I want, which is gonna be fantastic. But yeah, this is her new spot, and the production floor is right through there, and shipping and receiving is right through there. So she has all the access to everything that she needs, and she's right down here. So Shelly can bug her, but here she is, very empty, very echoey. Echo, echo, echo. Little echoey, little empty, but very, very nice. And how long have y'all been in this space? So we've been in here since September of 2021. So we've been in here just over, 2021, right? Right, Jill? September 2021? 2020, that's right. Yeah, we're just over 3 years. Yeah. So there we are. And then I'm just going to walk back upstairs to our almost completely renovated shipping and receiving room here. I'll just do a quick pass through the table. Oh man, boxes galore. We got a lot more shelves coming in there. We have a lot more stuff happening in there. We'll probably do a tour of that room next. I'm working on a new shipping and receiving table for us down in the wood shop, which is really, really cool. It's going to have Dr. Nick's and epoxy on the top of it. It's going to be a fun one. So there it is, though, man. We got new retail space, new office, new floors, new paint. Got the whole thing.
That's awesome. Okay, coming back. Okay.
Boom.
We should be good. Bam. There we are.
So I even got the video and mic to work the very first time coming back.
That was perfect.
I'll tell you what.
So if you guys have any questions about the facility, about the space or anything like that, now's a good time to drop them. And we actually have more time than I expected on the topic today. So that is pretty fantastic. And we're going to talk about the beard myths. So things that you hear about a beard that may or may not be true, right? And that's the key thing, because these things just get regurgitated around. And I do believe there's a source for everything, right? I'm a big fan of idioms. Now, if you're not familiar with an idiom, it's a saying that just people just say, and everybody understands what it means, but they don't get where it comes from, right? For example, my dad would always tell me when I was a kid, when something would hurt, he'd say, "Hey, bite the bullet." And I'll be like, "I don't know what the heck that means, Dad." He's like, "Be tough, suck it up," kind of deal. And I'm like, okay. And then obviously, if you think back, that goes back to like early war days when somebody would get an infection or they get shot, they'd have to amputate a leg or an arm. And to make sure they weren't screaming, do two things. One, you had a chance of biting your tongue off. And two, it brought down the morale of the other soldiers around you. They didn't want people screaming from getting their leg cut off. So they would give them a bullet and they would tell them to bite down on it as hard as you could. If you're biting on the bullet, you're not screaming, you're not biting your tongue. And so it's like, be tough, bite the bullet. And then now that's transferred over. And it's like, oh, yeah, all right, the elephant in the room, all these different things. So I love those kind of sayings. Idioms are a very fun like hobby of mine to research. Myths are almost directly related because somebody says something, it sounds right, and then it gets repeated time and time again. Now, these myths likely come from a time before Google, a time before the internet where you could fact check and look things up and find real information, but they also sometimes come from a place of outdated times. For example, and I'll kind of kick this one off. For example, one of the most common myths that I hear with beards is you should not wash your beard every day. If you wash your beard more than once or twice a week, you will kill your beard. Now, that one came from a place of when the industry started, there were not washes that were gentle enough to use every day. So you had to pick between washing your beard every day and killing it, right? Being too abrasive and breaking the hairs down, or washing your beard every day, or not washing your beard every day, but being a little bit more gross, a little bit more dirty. And so there was like a tough line. Well, now fast forward 10 years, we do have pH balanced, ingredient focused washes that you can use every day, but that myth has still held on. That myth has still stayed true. And in a similar regard, I could go on these forever, but in a similar regard is that heat will kill your beard. That might be the most common one I've ever heard. And that came from the women's head hair world.
Yeah.
A lot of women dye and treat their hair. That's very common. A vast majority of women do. And whether it's treating their grays, whether it's highlights, whether it's totally dyeing, right? At some point, a lot of women treat their hair as compared to men. Most men do not treat their beards, right? It's probably an exact opposite percentage. And so women know if I have treated hair, if I use heat too frequently, I am going to kill my hair. It's going to go bad. Got it. They transferred that logic over to beards, and it just flat out is not true. If you're doing it the right way, it can actually be healthier. And I have peer-reviewed journals to back that up. And so that's another myth. And I love trying to dig down to the source of these. Where do they come from?
I got your peer review on that one right here.
Yeah, you know? Right. Peer right and there. Peer.
Daily wash.
Yeah. Yep.
Daily heat.
Oh, so true. So. Right. Literally.
Clearly doing irreparable damage.
Yep. Same. Like a daily wash, daily heat, doing well. Yep, doing well. And same one. Leo brings up another good one, right? The concept of co-washing. That's the concept of using conditioner on your hair by itself, not washing beforehand. Now, here's a really important thing. In the women's world, when they do this, there's two main factors here. Most women do not wash their hair every day. Most women wash their hair once or twice a week, right? Additionally, when women apply conditioner, they do not apply it to the top of their head. They apply it to the length. We have a different configuration of our hair.
We have a different geometry.
Yeah, it really is though. Like, and that's,
we'd have to stand on our heads to be able to use products the same way they do.
Exactly.
Different.
Right. And it's also just different when you're thinking about like, oh, well, it's surrounding my nose and my mouth. And that leads to a lot of discrepancies as well. Leo, I think that same thing is true. When we first started this beard care industry, it was guys listening to women and what worked for their hair. And then they translated it over to beards. Some things work, right? Some things absolutely do translate, but some do not because of the geometry. I like that. I might have to write that down because of the geometry, but then also because of the hair structure is different. The pores are different. The sebaceous glands are 3 to 5 times less. The sebaceous oil is 3 to 5 times less. So there's a ton of different, a ton of different situations going on and variables. And Leo, I think you're exactly right. And so many people stick with what they're told originally, and that's it, right? I was told 7 years ago to co-wash. And I was too. I had to step outside of my box and say, whoa. What's the logic behind this? What's the reason behind this? Is there any benefit? No, there just isn't. And so that's a great one, Leo. I really like thinking about that one too. Yep.
Yeah. And I think that's where, I mean, like you look back though. I mean, like even like for head care products, right? The all-in-one conditioner wash thing, everyone's kind of realized that it's not the way to go, right? I mean, like even to the point where, like, what was it? I think it was like, it was my son, Jack. He's like, Dad, he's like, when's Dr. Nick's going to come out with like the man wash? That's just like beard wash, beard conditioner, face wash, head conditioner, and body wash all in one. He's like, cause guys don't like to use like too many separate products. And I'm like, where'd you hear that from? And so like, it was just funny though, because he listens to people talk about like, oh, just being a dude, like, oh, I don't use all that stuff. And then he grows up with us, right? Generating all these products, and he has all of them in his shower and uses every one of them. And we got to talking about it. And I'm like, what about you though? Like, do you want to use all-in-one, or do you like using different stuff? He's like, oh, I wouldn't want to use an all-in-one. He's like, I like using separate wash, separate conditioner on my head. I like body wash and face wash, and so he goes through the whole thing. And it's just funny though, it's like everyone's kind of default is to think that we don't want separate products, because people have always tried to combine them for us, and it's just not the case. People think we're lazy and don't know what we want or something, I guess.
Right. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. I actually had a guy get mad at me the other day. Hear this out. Right. I had a guy who was overseas, and he's like, hey, I need a budget-friendly beard oil that I can get in stores. And I said, Bulldog actually has a solid budget beard oil they can get in stores. It's essential oils only. It is all natural carriers. Does it smell great? Not so much. Is it the best I've used? No, not even close. But it's okay. It's not silicone. It's not mineral oil. It's okay. And so I recommended that. Then he came and messaged me and was like, hey, man, I got the Bulldog 2-in-1 wash and conditioner. What do you think? And I'm like, not good. Don't recommend. He's like, what the heck? You recommended Bulldog? But I was like, no. I recommended Bulldog oil, like just oil in your particular situation. It's not even really.
Had to buy something in a store. What's it going to be? It's that.
And exactly. I'm like, it's not even a particular recommendation I like to give, but I'm trying to meet you where you're asking me. And then they got mad that they bought this product because it was from the same company. And it's like, I know, because I've worked with many, the mindset of those companies where it's like, this isn't the best, but people are demanding it. So then on the company side of things, it's like, that's a tough line. Do you say, no, I don't make this because I don't believe it's great for you? Or do you say, hey, the demand is there. You guys are asking for it. I'm just meeting your request.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough, but a 2-in-1, that's another massive pet peeve of mine, right?
Yeah.
Wash and conditioner do two different things. Wash gets down to the skin first and foremost, opens up the pores, gets rid of sodium, gets rid of wax, allergens, toxins, all these things that are there. And then it also cleans the hairs. Conditioner, and this is to get super sciencey on you guys, conditioner has the opposite attraction than your natural hairs do. And so what happens is if you have an imperfection on your hair, it is even more charged than the normal part of the hair. And so conditioner latches on to the opposite charge. It finds those imperfections because they're charging even more. It latches on there, smooths it out, and makes it more of like a non-tangly, a non-snagging hair. It is not for the skin. It will clog your pores eventually if you're massaging it into the skin. And so if you have a 2-in-1 and you're telling me I need to get into the pores to wash it, but I'm also pushing in something that's a conditioner that's going to clog it and latch onto it, you can't tell that bottle, hey, you go do this job, you go do this job, team on 3, 1, 2, 3, team, right?
Yeah, there's not nanobots in there.
Right.
Like you can't, like they're not programmed to go to different parts of your face. Like, all right, one puddle in the hand, suds it up, and go your separate directions, boys.
Exactly. And look at Jill quoting a legend, rest in peace, Mitch Hedberg. She said, 2 doesn't fit in 1. That's why they made 2. Otherwise, the bottle would be all sticky. So true. So true. And
I love JT Steve comes up with my other favorite bit from Hedberg. Talks about he likes escalators better than elevators because when escalators break, they just become stairs.
Stairs, yes. A dog is forever in the push-up position. He's the best. He is the for deadpan like humor. There's nobody better ever.
Oh God, it's so good. I like his thing about the club sandwich.
Oh yeah, yep. And that's a problem. Like the most brilliant comedians are often the most troubled ones. That's what makes them funny, Patrice O'Neal and all. I mean, just legends. And so, man, Jill, I love that. That was a great quote there. So yeah, stay away from the 2-in-1s. Stay away from the 7-in-1s. Now there are things that can flirt with each other and work better. For example, a face wash and a beard wash. Can you dial in a face wash to be more particular than a beard wash? Yes. You can make them more perfect. Dr. Nick's has a face wash and a beard wash. They are separate products. They're separate everythings, and they're ideal. Now, if Nick came to me and said, no, we have to do a face and beard wash to have it in one, we could make that work. That is possible, right?
They're very similar pHs.
Yep. it's not ideal. It's not
Mm-mm.
like the exact best, but it can work. It's not going to be a detriment to your face or beard at all. It's just
No.
the other ones that don't make sense, right? You don't want a 7-in-1 that's face wash, beard wash, head hair shampoo, head hair conditioner, deodorant, like foot massage. You don't want that. That's not
No.
going to go well.
It's like the same with like, but I mean, it's the same in everything in life. Like, look at like you go to the auto parts store and you look at car washes, and they have car washes that have waxes into the wash, and it's like you
Right.
can wash and
Oh,
wax at the same time. You're like,
stop.
okay, hold on. Let's like, how dumb of a consumer do you think I am? So like,
Ooh.
if I have crap on my car, I need a detergent-based soap to get rid of it. That's going to
Mhm.
emulsify things and rinse off.
Yes.
Including wax. So if there's wax in the wash, logic would say that it's just going to wash away with the soap too.
Or it's going to lock onto stuff that you don't want anyway. Like,
Or it's going to wax in my dead bugs. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just, I feel like everyone does it in every corner of the market, and there's an ass for every seat, right?
Yep.
So, you know, people are going to buy it.
Yep.
But it's it's just one of those things, man. I've never got it reminds me of like the old school infomercials, you know, where it's like the chopper, the slicer, and wait, there's more. And it doesn't do any of them well, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That it's so dang true.
It's like
And
the jack of all trades, master of none conundrum.
you guys are going to Shane Gillis?
Yes.
Oh, he's my one right now. He is
Dude.
my number one. His I can't really talk about any of the bits I like right now,
No.
but like
We really can't on this stream.
no. And this isn't even the most like PG stream, but just sensitive topics, but he's brilliant. He's the first comedian that I've seen as like a guy's guy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Where it's like he's a guy's guy, but he's just I cry listening to Shane Gillis.
He's oh man, like this guy just cracks me up. Jill found him and watched the first thing she had watched of him on a flight, and she like I look over and all of a sudden she's like in tears, just like laughing her face off on this airplane. She's got headphones in with noise cancellation on, and Jill's deaf to begin with. And so she's like laughing at very inappropriate airplane volume. And I like look over and she's like, oh crap, sorry. Am I like laughing really loud? And I was like, me, just a little bit. What you watching?
That is great. No, he's the best. I know you. I somehow got brought up. Nick and I always do this. I think that day or the next day, I was like, sent you a clip of Shane Gillis, and you're like, dude, you won't believe this. But literally yesterday, Jill on the plane, and I'm like, of course. Of course. On that one.
I stopped saying like, you won't believe it too. It's like, I literally was just talking to my son's girlfriend's parents, her dad, Chris. We were talking about this new relationship I just made with Orvis, the outdoor store. And we were talking about Orvis, and he's like, oh man, I haven't thought about those guys in years. This and that. He's like, I remember seeing their stuff on their fly fishing catalogs. I was like, yeah, those guys. And then I see him dropping off Jack at theater practice the other day. And he's like, dude, you're not going to believe this. And I was like, what? And he's like, I open up my email this morning, or I open up my news feed this morning, and it's freaking Orvis sitting in my news feed. And then I open it up, and there's a newsletter from Orvis that I signed up for like 5 years ago and haven't even noticed one. Like, boom, it's like top of my inbox this morning after you and I talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yep, that happens. That's a thing.
Yeah, we just talked to you yesterday.
Yeah, sorry.
Wild. Now, and Jill's right. When it comes to the heat, there are things that you need to do. And I have a video, if you want to look up like beginner's guide to using heat on your beard. Like you can't just go out and again, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. Heat is good, but you need to stay under 365. You need to keep, if you're using a blow dryer, keep some space. 6 inches is ideal. If you're using anything, you want to keep consistent movement. You don't want to just leave it on a spot. Use consistent movement and make sure it's protected with that oil beforehand. As long as you do that, you're going to be fine. You will be fine.
And water steaming out of your beard through your heat brush is a bad thing, and is not doing a 2-in-1 process of drying and straightening.
Correct.
Although that will be the effect, there will be other effects, which are negative ones.
And our guy Because says, I started using heat daily. What a game changer for this super wavy beard. Yep.
Dude, I bet you get like an extra inch, like straightening that thing. It's like I'm sure, like, it's so funny.
So true. And then JT Steve brings up a good one. This is the one where where I'm like, I struggle to see the logic or where this one comes from. There's a massive percentage of people that believe if you trim your beard or you trim your hair, it will grow faster.
That's like, and that couples with a couple of other rumors. Like for
Okay.
girls, the girls always hear when they're growing up, oh, don't shave that because it's going to grow back darker. Or like, don't shave that; it's going to grow back thicker. You know,
Right.
it's like if they all of a sudden get like a mustache or something, and they got to like get rid of it. It's like, oh, don't do that. Just let it grow. It's going to grow back darker. It's going to grow back thicker.
Right. And that's
so like it's like, yeah, it's like the cutting the ends and the hair growing back thicker if you shave it thing, I think are almost in the same category. But there could be some validity to the hair growing back thicker one. I don't know. But it seems like those are like in the same category of myths, right?
So I know the thicker one. So essentially where that comes from, and it does come from the women's world, is if you are growing hair has a natural shape to it. It is the thickest at the shaft. It's the thickest at the base, at the spot where it meets the follicle or the pore. And then as it grows, it thins out. So if you have a hair that's even a couple of centimeters long, couple millimeters long, the thickest part is at the base.
So it's going to seem thicker when it grows back.
When you shave it, you're cutting it at its thickest portion, and that thick part is coming out before it can get weathered and can essentially, when it comes to the follicle itself, it starts to get changing. But when you shave it, it's already out of the follicle, right? That's why women say wax rather than shave. All that's happening is they're ripping that hair out, and it's got to start the process. It just takes longer. The same thing is going to happen.
Right.
And so when it comes through, it's thick. If you let it grow, it's going to continue to thin out. That's the thing. And then the other one on that, people will say, like, if you keep shaving, your beard will get better. If you keep shaving, your beard will get better. That just simply comes from somebody trying to grow a beard at 18 years old, not having a good beard. They shave for the next literal 4 years of college. Then they get out of college and they have a job and they're trying to get a new age of women. And they're like, I'm going to try growing this beard out. They try growing it and they're like, whoa, my beard is way better 4 or 5 years later. It was the shaving for 4 or 5. No, it's that you got older and your DHT, your male testosterone increased, just like your chest hair, just like your back hair, just like anything else, right? Your head might start to be turning with male pattern baldness. So that one's a big one because time passes. They're like, what did I do? I shaved. Aha, evidence, Just
That's so funny though. As humans, like that's something we do all the damn time. Like we look for correlation and we don't look at like the multiple points. It's like we talked about on stream not too long back when we were talking about Plymouth and like the pilgrims that came over, and they came from England where there was the Black Plague. So all they could drink was beer because water wasn't safe to drink, but beer was. And they didn't think that it was the very first step in making beer that made it safe to drink, which was boiling water, not the fact that they went through 18 other steps and turned it into beer. Like the very first one is what made it safe drinking water, not
it wasn't
the
the beer
turning it into beer thing.
Right. Yeah, beer was safe because it was the only one getting boiled.
I mean, granted, listen, hey, if I'm one of those dudes, right? I mean, that's a pretty convenient one to fall on. Like, I'm gonna die unless I drink beer. I don't know what to tell you.
Sorry, honey.
if I had hot water or beer that wasn't going to kill me, I'm going to pick the beer, But I mean, hey, that's just me. But yeah, that is an interesting one though. The cutting the ends thing, I still hear that one all the damn time, man.
Yeah,
like people think you have to trim the ends to get it to to get it to push out.
I think that one is the concept of addition by subtraction, where if you do have a lot of transparency and oftentimes split ends and just stuff kind of like really getting wispy at the bottom, when you trim it, I think oftentimes, especially a couple weeks later, your beard looks bigger and fuller, like literally based on just perception. It looks like you have a better beard because of it. And they're like, when I trimmed it, it must have grew faster. And it's like, nope, there's no communication here. That it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, your ends of your hair don't really talk to the root of your hair. There's not really like a neural network that takes place there.
Right. Yeah, there's not.
It's not like a plant, right? It's not like pruning a plant where you trim it one way and it starts growing another way more, right? I mean, it's not a bonsai.
That's a great analogy of what it's not. Yes, I like that. I'm gonna store that one and use that. It's not a plant where, hey, I bet you there might be some like overlapping of that myth of people being like, oh yeah, when I do trim this plant out front in the spring, that's what makes it grow. I bet you there's a lot of that. I bet, no pun intended, but I bet that is a root cause.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I like it. That's why I like talking to you guys. All right, Sebastian said, I heard that beard hair is the same as the hair down there, if you know what I mean. Same type of hair. Jill's coming in. She says hair is not all the same, and that perception needs to stop. That is, I think, a perception, right? Pubic hair, right? I think we can say that here with all adults in the building. I believe that has come from just a negative space of trying to throw slang at beards, where people will say, hey, look at that pubic hair on your face, where you growing that pubic hair out of your face. I think that's where it comes from. As Jill said, all of your hair is different, and this is literally biological. Your beard hair is different than your head hair, which is different than your arm hair, which is different than your pubic hair, which is different than your leg hair, which is different than your toe hair. Like they're all different, like literally different, from the follicle to the pore to the structure of the hair. So I think that's another good one. That's just a myth, where it's like maybe there was some negative intentions involved there.
Can you imagine if pubic hair didn't have the built-in terminal length that it does, and it actually was the same as your beard hair, and you'd be everyone would be like Borat walking around.
That's another good point, right? When you think of
the
terminal length
is a giveaway on that one. Dead,
right?
Dead giveaway.
Yeah, you could have some dudes with some shorts of their own,
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. His shirt, no shoes, question mark required.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Hey, I mean, but if you think about it, what else is kind of interesting too? And I was just kind of putting this together, like, like old dudes, like the super woolly ears and like the big nose hairs and stuff like that, eyebrows going nuts and stuff, right? It's almost like the hair that grows above your neck, right, is much less likely to have a terminal length or a much longer terminal length than the hair in the rest of your body. Like everything else from the shoulders down has a very short terminal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Your arm hair is not going to get longer than what it is right now.
I'm not going to grow an arm beard, magically all of a sudden, like no matter how much, peppermint rosemary oil I put on it.
Yeah. True. Awesome. And then Leo brings up one. Now, I have not read this, to be fair, but I have thoughts on this. And he said, molded combs damage beard. Chicago Combs wrote a blog post that dissects that myth. Okay, so let's break this down here. Nick, I want you to take the first part of explaining, and then I'll take my perspective. What is a molded comb for someone that doesn't understand what that means?
A mold injected comb would just be anything that's not a naturally shaped comb. So it'd be like something that has had a negative mold and something injected into it, or something pressed that creates the shape of the comb. And I think people's logic there is that a lot of cheap molded combs probably have a lot of the tooling marks on the side, or some of the mold splits left on the side, right?
They have like
sharp edges. Is that kind of where that comes from?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. When they have them, they're usually the press molds, and essentially they put in an amount of the cellulose acetate or just black, cheap plastic in there, and then they press it, and then some of it, when you have a little bit too much, it goes over the edge, it gets pressed, and it stays on the brush, or stays on the comb. Yep. So right where you have the spine of the comb, you get these little jagged edges, or at the tips of the teeth, you get the little jagged edges as well. And those, for a fact, do kill beards. That is like a razor blade every time you're going through your beard. I'm assuming Chicago Combs is saying, hey, not all molds are created equally. You can have polished ones. You can have ones that are just done correctly and just done better. And so I think it is important to note that it's the cheap ones. I call them funeral home combs because because I saw them in a funeral home when I was at my grandpa's funeral. And then also it's like a funeral for your beard.
Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, like, yes, if it says suave, chances are it's going to kill your beard,
Right. In general.
In general, if it's a bottle, if it's a comb, if it's whatever it is, it's probably not going to do you justice.
In our opinion and experiences.
Very different.
I said, in our opinion and experiences.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's, but it's, I think like the Chicago ones, those things have no seam, no spine anywhere on them. They must have a really cool, I'm sure the blog talks about it, but on top of having a good mold, I'm also sure that they go through some sort of a smoothing process. I have to assume they have like this big box of agitating little pellets that sit there and work off little corners and stuff, or something cool.
Something. Kent Comb, they always advertise about their polished combs, and so I think it's the same kind of concept there. And yeah, I don't know if it's literally person by person hand polished, which I know some have claimed, or if it is something like you said. That's super interesting to think about what it could be.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that is an interesting point. But yeah, Leo, I mean, that is a good one though, man. I think that's one of those ones that has some truth to it.
And then Leo says here, a myth that using the wrong brand of a device will destroy your beard.
Yeah, I mean, there might be something to that. Like you look at like a cheap heat brush off of AliExpress.
Yep.
And it says 320, but it's really sitting there running at 450. You know, I mean, that's a pretty quick way to cook something.
Oh, big time. And then there's I'm gonna see if I can grab a quick picture. Nobody should ever use the super cheap kind of heated brush where essentially it's like one side of a flat iron and then they slide a little plastic guard over it.
Oh boy.
Those will straight up destroy your beard, and they will destroy your beard quickly, right? There's a lot of things that take time to build up and destroy your beard, but those ones will just flat out kill it in a very, I can't find a picture right now, but in a very short amount of time.
Let's see this Black & Decker beard wrecker.
Yeah, right. I think that's actually the name, believe it or not. I like that.
It's actually a beard devil.
Right. So yeah, there's definitely ones in Leo says Chicago Combs has a seam you can feel with your fingers or nails and see under slight magnification. Yeah. And I think that's a good distinction. The distinction between a seam and a distinction between, and now what would you call it, where there's the press marks and it comes out, usually it's in like a bubble form and they're razor sharp.
It's almost like a crest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little ledge that you can feel, and they are sharper than hell. And they're usually in the worst spot possible too. They're usually like right between the freaking teeth.
Yep.
So like you get in there and it's like, you know, you're literally like compressing your hair and like, you know, zesting it at the same time. It's no, you don't want that.
No, it's bad, like real bad. And with Chicago Combs, there's definitely, like I said, something visual there, but it's nothing that's going to be able to grab your hairs or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's no bueno. You don't want like the peeler, effect on your hair.
Yep, absolutely.
That's no bueno.
Leo says, I agree, but that's a different device, not brand as I meant it. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, different. Okay, yeah.
Oh, here you go, Nick.
I think we all know the truth. Having a beard means you are uncivilized.
Mm-hmm.
Well, clearly. I mean, all barbarians.
Heathens. Yep.
You know what? It's so funny you say that too, because that's actually the reason I kept my beard trimmed for like this short for the longest time. Because I thought I needed business beard. Like I thought I had to, in order to wear a sport coat and walk into a room full of people that were clean shaven and were, like the preppy kids in school, right? I thought I needed to be able to blend in with them. And one, I realized after a while that I actually didn't care what those people thought. That was probably the biggest revelation.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I also realized that wearing a sport coat with a long beard and not having to worry about a tie underneath it because you can't see it anyway, it's a whole different kind of classy, man. And if you do it right, I would argue to say that someone with a long beard can be just as professional and civilized looking as, or more so than someone without. Like, tell me what look is better, right? Clean cut, clean shaven, just got done at Master Cuts, right? And you're coming out wearing a dress shirt that's too big for you, tucked into slacks with a belt that doesn't match your shoes, right? Like that guy's like, I'm doing all the things. I shaved, I'm wearing a button-down shirt, I have a tie and a belt and shoes. And then look at the guy, walking in with a well-groomed beard, a sport coat that goes with his pants, and a nice pair of shoes. That guy is going to look cleaner and more professional than the guy who fits the mold of like your traditional civilized business look,
And I get a weird, sick and twisted, and we're going to wrap up here in a minute, guys, but a weird, sick and twisted confidence of being different, but also being like classy. I love that feeling. Love that feeling.
You found it. That is a Black & Decker beard wrecker.
Yep. So look at this thing, man. Like it literally is a flat plate that you slide a little plastic guard over, and that
No.
plate, that heating plate, that bare plate is on your beard hairs.
Well, and also on top of that, dude, think of what that's doing. You're only getting the surface of your
Yeah.
beard as opposed to getting into the beard to heat it around 360 degrees around the hair.
Yep.
You're just like, it's like an iron going past your beard.
Right. Absolutely. And you see this, like they're advertising towards beards, towards hair. Look at this. You can have this thing. And so I get people that will send me these and like, hey man, how'd I do? And I'm like, oh, do you want to know?
What I love is all their photos of people that have a beard for that product all had hair that was shorter than the tines that go over that plate.
Oh yeah. Right.
So there's no way that any of those beards would have actually even come in contact with heat from that product.
Right. And then you also have to protect the heat plate from your face, and like it's like you're gonna be burning your skin,
Oh
So,
man. You
yeah.
imagine explaining that one? What happened? Well, I had a run in with this thing I bought off of AliExpress.
Right.
No good.
Jose, we both use the Chicago comb number 8. Yep, Chicago comb number 8. We both do. We love them.
I love that number 8, man. And to be fair, I had it with me at the beard competition in Daytona, and I was back in the dressing room and I was using it before I went on. And another guy was about to go on. He's like, crap, they don't have stylists back here this year in the dressing room or anything. He's like, is there combs or anything back here? And I was like, mine if you want, and he was like, he's like, what is it? I was like, Chicago number 8. He's like, oh, freaking champion comb.
Nice.
Like, blew it off and wiped it off real quick, went to town and did the same thing when he was done. He's like, oh man, he's like, I didn't think borrowing a comb was going to get me a Chicago.
Right. That is awesome. And yeah, real quick, rapid speed. The biggest myth of them all is that beards are dirty, right? I don't know where that propaganda came from. I don't know if it was the concept of don't wash your beard more than once or twice a week. But then on the flip side, women oftentimes don't wash their hair more than once or twice a week. And if there's something getting from the environment and sweat and everything on my beard, it's probably on your head hair too, So that's a wild one. And then one I will leave you with that I want to go over real quick. I know one basis of this, but somebody hit me with a comment the other day and it really struck me. I randomly get struck by comments, and they were talking about their grandmother asking them to shave. And I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I get it. I know it's a generational thing, right? Beards were not as common when your grandmother was growing up. I get that. And he said, but grandmothers are supposed to not like beards. And I don't like just accepting things that are just said and regurgitated. And my question, and I love this person, it wasn't a bad thing. My question is, why? Why are grandmas supposed to not like beards? And I don't know a reason other than generational norms.
Yeah. And I suppose like grandmas like maybe are always looking like, oh, you need to look your best with your pressed pants and like your formals on and this kind of stuff if you want to succeed. So maybe it's like again generational, but maybe they're wondering about like, can you be successful can you be the person I know you are inside if you have a beard,
Right. And like they'll say things like, I miss your face. And it's like, well, this is literally my face. This is natural, right? You don't say to a woman like, hey, I miss your head. No. They were born without head hair for the most part. It's like, you don't.
Nope.
I struggle with that one. I struggle with that one.
Weird one.
Yeah,
and to be fair, no one's ever told me they miss my face. And that might be for completely different reasons than what we're talking about here.
Right. That is hilarious.
Don't miss it.
So one to contemplate, you guys. We've come up with a good answer to that one. But man, this was cool. Thank you guys. Got us able to kind of think about the source of things, get some myths off our chest. You guys got a little tour today, some updates on things like shipping. I love it. We will be here 1 p.m. live next Tuesday as well. We hope that you guys join us. Nick, final words for the people here?
Oh, man. Hey, just thanks again for all the support. Thanks for all the emails. Thanks for working with us through our busiest time of the year. And thanks for giving us a break to sit here and talk about some fun stuff. And just, again, thanks for the support. And I will throw it out there, too. Again, just as a reminder, if you're international and you see your shipping rate go away, email us. We're not going to ever leave you out in the cold, especially this time of year. We wouldn't abandon your beard like that. You know us better than that. Just send us an email. And then, of course, if anything else, right? If anything else comes of any change, you like things, you want to see more of something, less of something, you took exception to something we said here today and you're like burning up inside because you don't like something I said, email me. Let's get on the phone. Let's talk. Like, this is, again, you guys decide the direction of this company, not us. And so, you know, we definitely look to your advice and your input, and we value it. So keep it coming. Thanks for everything that you've sent in. And yeah, see you guys next Tuesday, 1 o'clock.